We're going to look at the healing of wounds, just a short presentation on it. When we look at the structure of the skin, the skin, like I said, is made up of a few layers. And the top layer being dead, the one below that is a layer of cells that divide rapidly. If you have a cut, it is important to protect the area. I know they say it is good to have it just healing by itself on its own in the open, but there's also the saying, if you put on a plaster, it will heal faster. Now, very importantly, if I put on a plaster, I'm protecting that wound against the elements of the environment. If I don't put on a plaster and expose the wound to the environment, those cells that we spoke about, and here's a picture of it. If these cells replicate so fast to close up that little gap, it is the wrong cells that will be pushed up into that area, and that is what causes the scar. It's a different type of cell. If, however, we take a plaster or we stitch the wound or we close it up in some way, the cells that will replicate will stay at the bottom, the top cells will close, and the layers will remain intact. It is when the layer at the bottom comes through the opening, through the wound, and closes up what we didn't close up that we have a scar. Now, importantly also, if we look at how quickly a scar heals, for example, I have a small cut. It takes about 3 to 4 days, maybe 5, 6, 7 days to heal. Now, imagine I've had an operation and that cut was deeper than that. How long do you think it will take? If it's stitched, quite often they tell you come back after 10 days to take the stitches out. Do you think that wound will be properly healed after 10 days? Now, if you're not sure, nothing will happen to you if you take a bit longer and leave that wound to heal at least for 14 days, at least for 2 weeks if it's a cut due to an operation. It is important that we allow that cells to replicate in the right places, fill up the right spaces, and to heal and close up completely. Quite often, when the stitches are removed, we see that the wound starts gaping and other tissues start coming to the fore, and it doesn't look like the tissues at the top. So when we have a wound, whether it's naturally inflicted or by incision during surgery, make sure that that wound is healed completely. But what I do when I have an injury, for example, I had an injury on my hand, I had a burn. So all I did is, first of all, I closed it off with butter and flour. When I was ready to put on something else, I put on aloe and I closed up the hand completely and I left it like that. I did not open that wound for quite a while. I left it closed. Even when washing it, I closed it up with a plastic glove and I left it intact for as long as I could. And you can see the results, right? So whenever you hurt yourself, think about the healing process. Think about how a wound heals. Think about the skin, the sketches that I've shown you. And the easiest thing, if we have, for example, aloe, is just put a piece of aloe on there, close it up, and you're set.